Welcome to the Lead Every Day show. Our mission is to see a world well led. And our strategy to get there? To empower leaders like you to lead every day. So let's get to work.
What's it like to be led by you? It's a really important question as you begin to think about building a high-performance team and really attracting talent like we've been talking about these last few days. This is a huge question. People really do want to work for a great leader. Welcome to the Lead Every Day show. I'm Randy Gravitt.
And I'm Mark Miller.
And we're going to dive into this question today. Better boss, you called it yesterday, Mark. You said there's some things that are conditions of employment. If we're going to become a talent magnet, a place that attracts and keeps the best people, you said we got to be better boss, we got to provide a brighter future, and they want to be a part of a bigger vision. I want us to unpack those as we go these next few days. Let's start with what it means to be a better boss. I've said this a couple of days ago. How many times have I benefited when my boss, my leader, my supervisor got it right and they were what they needed to be? And how frustrating is it when you get a situation and you're just a number in that organization. Yeah. You're looking for the exit as quick as you can, if you ask me. So let's jump into that. I'm excited about this. I think it's huge.
Yeah. So let's start with the whole better boss element. Some people say, well, yeah, you're the leadership guy. That's why better boss is first. Well, it's interesting. As we did a lot of research, we've talked about, the first wave did not reveal leadership as a differentiator between typical and top talent. And my team was going, are you going to be okay with that? I said, well, the data's the data, and we're going to report the data. Well, we got wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and the next year of research. And in fact, it did emerge, and it really does matter. But we didn't know what it meant in real terms. So we began doing face-to-face interviews and focus groups with people who had been deemed by their organization as top talent. And we ended up talking to over 400 of them. You did some of those interviews. I did over 220 of them myself. And we were really probing, what does it look like? What does it feel like? What are those qualities, characteristics, and attributes that would make you label someone a better boss?
Yeah, and I want to jump in there because we don't want your emails with the language here. We're not saying, when we say boss, we're being alliterative here for the book.
Yeah, the book had
but
better
we
boss,
really
brighter
we
future,
want to
bigger,
give you give you some things here when we talk about being that kind of leader. We'll call it. There actually were some things. There were some things that they told us over and over.
Sure.
When we use this language, better boss, like what does that mean to a person out there on the field?
Yeah, and I'll say that any of you that ever done any research, you know that what we were really trying to identify here were themes. Yeah. And then we
saw them as we had
and we wanted tangible examples that would help bring the theme to life.
Yeah. So as you listen here to these themes, I want to encourage you to be thinking about, is this the way you lead right now? Let's go back again to my question. What's it like to be led by you?
And is this the way the leaders in your organization lead?
All the leaders. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. So give me one.
Yeah. So the first one is that top talent wants leaders that are engaged. Now, I think the whole concept of absentee leadership, it's not even a thing. But it's really not a thing with top talent.
Well, we said a week or two ago that you can't delegate your presence.
Right.
I mean, you have to be.
You got to show up.
You got to show up.
You got to show up.
We're talking fishing. You can't be fishing and hunting all the time and lead your business.
Well,
lead your
and
company.
you made the observation in a previous episode that you actually have to be there when you show up.
Yeah.
It's about your presence.
Your engagement.
Yeah. Are you engaged? Are you clued in? Are you aware of what's going on in the organization? Are you aware of the challenges and the struggles? Are you aware of the victories and the celebrations that could be taking place if the leader stepped in and say, hey, let's celebrate that? So lots of examples and illustrations, but people literally said things like, my boss, my leader, they know what's going on.
They're leaned in. One of the things I heard over and over when we talked about this was, I want my boss, I want my leader to see me as a person, not just as an employee.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was huge.
Well, that would be the second.
We heard that over and over again as well. Exactly.
Yeah.
That was number two. It was like, we don't want to just be a number. We don't want, and this takes on many forms. It's like if the leader, the boss, is only extracting value rather than adding value, doesn't understand the person outside of
Right.
work. I mean, there's a lot of ways that this pops up, but we affirm people and we encourage people and we understand what they're going through, kind of thing. We have empathy for. I mean, there's a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Again,
The word care came up over again.
and
Yeah, it's just maybe it's obvious, maybe it's intuitive for some of you, but I know if I'm not careful, I can get too busy.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I can become too focused, and I can become too distracted.
Well,
people want to be seen, and they want to be heard, and
and
they
they-
want to be known.
Yeah, and they do want to be cared for. I like that word. I tell people all the time, you can't demonstrate care unless you care. I mean, it
Right.
starts with that, goes back to almost what you talked about at the beginning, the engagement. If you
Right.
if you're not really engaged and care about your people, you can't fake it, or they'll begin to see it. And at some point, you're really trying to attract people. You got to care about the people you're trying to attract. That's what they told us over and over.
And in very tactical and practical ways. I mean, we heard people say, my leader helped cover my shift because they knew I had a sick child at home, and they got somebody to work for me. I mean, the stuff you and I may not even think about as demonstrating care, but that's how it's seen and that's how it's received, and that's part of what top talent's looking for.
Yeah, and you may be sitting there thinking, I can't help everybody who's got a kid. Say, well, the question is, do you even know they have a kid? I mean, I ran into all the time, people are going, I didn't even know they had a kid. And
Right.
this
People want to be known.
They want to be
They
known.
want to be
This
seen.
is part
they
of it.
want to be treated like human beings.
They really
and
do.
I would say this, depending on the way you're structured and depending on where you are in the organization, you need to deputize all of your leaders to be better bosses.
Yeah.
Because you got people 3, 4, 5, 6
In these
levels
tangible
below
ways that
you
you're describing.
that they need to be doing this, because the top talent's actually not working for you. The top talent is working for their frontline supervisor.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so there was a third theme that came out in these interviews, these questions that we had.
Yeah.
Tell them about number 3. 'Cause
Yeah.
this one's important.
Well,
as well.
this is, I don't know. I think this is a blinding flash of the obvious. They want their leaders to be competent. They want them to be able to lead. They don't want them just to be a social worker and a caregiver, and they don't want them just to show up and, hey, how's your mom and them?
Yeah.
They actually want them to be able to lead.
a good leader.
Cast vision, solve problems, build teams, resolve conflict, the stuff that leaders do.
Create clarity and
Yeah.
provide resources.
Yes.
All the things that leadership
They
is
want
doing.
you to be able to lead.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's too much to ask. Now, we said a couple days ago, when you think about better boss, don't you think everybody wants one? Well, sure, at some level, but I want to repeat what we said the other day. If top talent is not well led, let's go to this last attribute. If you're not competent as a leader, your top talent is an immediate flight risk.
Yeah, yeah. And we'll land it right there. We'll dive in as we come back to this idea of a brighter future, because I think, it's about the growth of the people. But let me just ask you this question: what are you doing to grow you? Let's take that last thing there. This idea of becoming a better leader. If your people expect to be well led, you're going to need to level up your leadership and continue to improve, get better in the way you care about them, better in the way you create clarity, better in the way that you the skills that you have to do what it is you're trying to do. Your people, your best people, really are looking to be well led. They're looking for an engaged leader, a better boss, we call it. If you really want to attract top talent, a condition of employment is they got to be well led. You will not be able to get there if you don't start with the person that you see when you look in the mirror. I would just challenge you there as you go into these next few days. Just give yourself some thought there and do some reality check. Make sure that you're doing what you can to become the leader that everybody's going to love to be part of your organization. Remember, the best leaders lead every day.